We're going to learn a little something, me and you, today. A little something about life, because here's some common misconceptions that are going to be debunked by the good old paint explainer.
The pyramids of Giza were not built by slaves. Archaeological evidence shows they were constructed by a workforce of laborers who were paid and well-fed.
Wait, really? I mean, that's really impressive if that's the case. I mean, dragging all those stones for hundreds of miles, I would assume, must be very hungry work, so they're going to need to be fed, true. You're not going to be able to really construct much if you're dying of starvation. I don't know. Wow, if that is true, then I'm impressed.
Do not grow on trees. They grow on plants that are giant herbs.
With the herbs? Okay, how big does a plant need to be considered a tree? Because you can have small trees as well as big trees.
Historical Buddha is not known to have been fat. Marie Curie did not die from radiation exposure during her research. She passed away from aplastic anemia, likely caused by prolonged exposure to radiation, but not immediately during her work.
Oh yeah, I mean, sure. We're splitting hairs a little bit there, but sure, definitely got a little bit too close to the ions and the gamma rays right there. Didn't turn her into the Hulk. Oh, the Colosseum? Okay, I'm excited for this. I'm a big fan of ancient Rome. You know, there was that trend on TikTok where it was like, ask your boyfriend how often they think about the Roman Empire. I'm at least a once every 12 hours kind of guy.
The Colosseum was not primarily a site for gladiator battles. It hosted a variety of events, including animal hunts, executions, and mock sea battles.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna build something that big, you might as well make it useful. You're not just gonna build something that big and then just have it like once a month so that some people could go and slaughter each other. You're gonna make use of it like every day. You gotta make the money back somehow. It's an investment. The real estate developers back in the ancient Roman times, they've got to be dropping massive amounts of money on this. They gotta make it back somehow.
Alongside gladiator contests.
Mock sea battles? Wait, how do you have a mock sea battle inside of a Colosseum? Did they flood it? How does that work?
Claus was not created by Coca-Cola as an advertising gimmick. He had already formed in American popular culture.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that was the case. Also, I genuinely believed in Santa Claus until I was like 12 years old. This is really embarrassing. I thought you had to pray to Santa. So I would pray to Santa and ask him for like Game Boys and stuff.
The Bible does not say that exactly 3 magi came to visit the baby Jesus, nor that they were kings or rode on camels. It only says that there was more than one magus.
Well, I mean, they have the rule of 3. I mean, the rule of 3 is very important. It's very important, I guess, in the Bible, but also in Nintendo games. How many times do you have to hit the boss to take them out? 3 times, usually. So, obviously, 3 makes the most sense because 4's too much. 4's company, 4's a crowd. 2 that's too few, obviously. 3 is just enough.
Neither the mafia nor other criminal organizations regularly use or have used cement shoes to drown their victims.
I mean, that doesn't seem like that. You might as well just kill them and then throw them into the river. Really, cement shoes seems like a whole lot of effort for something that you could just accomplish a lot easier with a little bit of strangulation.
5 de Mayo is not Mexico's Independence Day. It commemorates the Mexican victory over the French at the Battle of Puebla in 1862.
Let's go! Mexico! Beat the French. Nice.
Not their independence from Spain.
Good
Albert
job.
Einstein did not propose the theory of relativity out of nowhere. His work built upon and synthesized ideas from previous physicists, including Maxwell and Lorentz. The Wild West was not as lawless and violent as depicted in movies. Historical records suggest that most frontier towns had low homicide rates and communities that emphasized order.
Well, I guess because they were small, right? And if you have a small town, you have more cohesion within them because everybody knows each other, everybody relies on each other to stay together. And since you know each other so well, I guess there's going to be low homicide and low crime. But it seems cooler to have an outlaw ride into the town with a revolver and say, put all your money in the sack. And he has his bandana on. Like, that seems cooler. That's like, more interesting. You're not going to really make a Hollywood movie out of, oh, we have a small town and we farm. Also, it's really hot. And that's it. Maybe someone dies of dysentery.
The RMS Titanic was not advertised as unsinkable. This myth emerged after the disaster. The ship was described as being practically unsinkable.
Oh, I mean, that's okay. I mean, that's
highlighting its safety features. The signing of the Declaration of Independence didn't occur on July 4th, 1776. Most delegates signed the document on August 2nd, 1776, with some signatures added even later.
Damn, they took a whole ass month after? Jeez, there's some slow writers.
Bumblebee's ability to fly does not defy the laws of physics.
No, wasn't that like a meme from the Bee Movie?
Early misunderstandings led to the myth. Modern aerodynamics explain their flight based on wing motion and air vortices.
I know all about air vortices.
Salem witch trials were not focused on burning witches. Convicted individuals were hanged or pressed to death. Burning at the stake was more common in Europe.
Pressed? I'm sorry, pressed? What a weird way to kill someone. That's horrific. Pressed? I've definitely heard of this before, but really, that's just a strange way to do it.
Vomitoriums were not places for Romans to vomit during feasts. They were actually the entrances and exits to stadiums, allowing crowds to vomit out rapidly.
Of course, they didn't speak English back then. They didn't have the vomitor. Oh, we need to call it the vomitorium because they were speaking a different language back then, you see. It's a difference.
The Spanish flu did not originate in Spain. Spain was neutral during World War II and reported on the flu without wartime censorship, leading to the misnomer. Vincent.
Oh, they didn't originate there, but since they reported on it, that's why people think it comes from. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Because no one else was talking about it. Everyone else is like, oh, we need to shoot people with guns and blow them up with artillery. That's all they were saying back then. They weren't talking about the diseases. It's not like there was some journalism going on back then. No real. Where's Peter Parker? He's the real journalist.
Van Gogh did not cut off his ear to give to a lover. He severed part of his ear in a fit of mental anguish and gave it to a woman in a brothel, not to a romantic partner. The idea of witches...
Jesus Christ, could you imagine being the woman in the brothel? First off, you're already having a terrible life because you're literally back in the day when there was the patriarch. Well, there's still the patriarch. There's more patriarchy. There's no prospects. You're forced into being a brothel person. And then someone walks in, they're like, hey, I got this part of my ear for you. Like, I thought you might like it. I took this off. You like you said my ears look nice yesterday, so I thought you might like some.
Lying on brooms originated from folklore and was not a widespread belief among those accused of witchcraft. It's a symbolic image that has evolved over time, not a claim made by those accused during witch trials. Vikings wore simple, functional helmets without horns, contrary to popular depictions in media and art.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a helmet that has a horn, that's just really not very useful, is it? Because people can just grab at it. It can get stuck on things. It's smooth so that it's harder to grab at. You know, it allows things to deflect off. I can just see it being really impractical to actually have horns. However, it would look sick for the intimidation tactic. You can imagine a horde of people running at you with horns. It's going to look like the devil himself has risen. So maybe they should have done that. I mean, at least try it out. Just give it a go. Looks cool.
They also weren't huge. The average height of a Viking man was around 5'7" inches or 170 centimeters.
Okay, that was huge for the people back then because the average height of a normal person would have been like 5
Which
foot.
was similar to the average height of men in other parts of Europe at the time.
Now, never mind, I guess.
Napoleon was around 5'7" inches, and he was not as short as often believed. Considering the average height in the 1800s, which was 5'6" or 167 centimeters, he
was actually quite a tall lad.
He was actually taller than average. Thomas Edison improved the light bulb with a durable filament, building on previous Nikola Tesla's work. Humans actively use far more than 10% of their brains for various complex functions and processes.
This is dumb. We only use 10% of our brains thing is a completely stupid idea. What do you mean? This doesn't make any sense.
The Great Wall of China is not visible from space without...
Also, this is dumb too. How is it visible from space? Because it's long? That's not how things work. Just because something is long doesn't mean that it's visible from space. It's tiny. It's like that. There's other long things that aren't visible from space. Like, you know... Sorry.
Debunking a common myth. Einstein excelled in mathematics, disproving the myth he failed math in his school years. The Bible doesn't...
Wait, people think that Einstein failed mathematics and then became like the world's smartest physicist or mathematician or whatever he was doing?
Specify an apple as the forbidden fruit in the Garden of Eden story. Microwave cooking...
Wait, it doesn't say the apple of Eden? Is that not the thing? I guess it could be anything, really. It just could have been just a nice piece of fruit. Could have been a banana, really. Could have been a pear, though pears are worse than apples. So I could see why they'd lean into apple, because apple is definitely one of the top fruits. Maybe they could have said like a grape, the grape of Eden. The strawberry of Eden doesn't really flow off the tongue as well. So maybe that's why they went with apple.
Can preserve nutrients better than some conventional methods, not destroy them. Lemmings don't commit mass suicide. This myth was popularized by flawed nature documentaries. Humans and chimpanzees share a common ancestor. We did not evolve directly from them.
Yes.
The blood is thicker than water phrase originally emphasized bonds formed by shared experiences, and it's not true.
Wait, it's not Is blood not thicker than water? Actually, no, it might not be. It dissipates pretty well in water.
Patterrz was not sitting in the front, white section of the bus during the event that made her famous and incited the Montgomery bus boycott. Rather, she was sitting in the front of the back, colored section of the bus, where African Americans were expected to sit, and rejected an order from the driver to vacate her seat in favor of a white passenger when the white section of the bus had become full. The Great
Oh man, God. Isn't it crazy that the world was this way in certain countries and Western countries, that we think we're so progressive? We think that we've surpassed and quashed things like racism, when not too long ago, that was a law, when that was something that was expected of people of color. It is actually insane. Racism is still alive and well in this day and age, along with, homophobia, transphobia, and all that horrible stuff.
Chicago fire's cause remains unknown. The cow story is a popular myth. Penguins don't mate for life. They are monogamous, but may change partners seasonally.
Wait, they've changed partners seasonally? Sounds like some people I know. Way! No, actually doesn't really sound like anyone I know. I don't really have any friends or acquaintances that do that. So just more of a joke, really.
Chameleons change color based on mood, temperature, and light, not just to blend with their surroundings. Ancient Greek and Roman sculptures were originally painted with colors. They appear white today only because the original pigments have deteriorated.
But it does look cool in the white, though. I would love to know what it looks like painted with the whole colors. Obviously, no one's going to sit there and fill it in now, but I would love to see it back then. That's one of the things that if I had the power to go back in time, I wouldn't, because it'd be a terrible idea and you'd probably be burned for not speaking the language and for having weird clothes that have like strange muscly men on them. But if you could, and you could kind of like free cam it, that would be great. If I could free cam and just kind of fly around and just see what's happening and just like fly around at top speeds, I'd love to just go and see what ancient Rome was like at its peak and fly around to the different parts of the world and see what everyone was getting on with. Probably just be a lot of farming, really, and just walking around and cooking and stuff. But, it'd be nice to have a look.
Earth is not the only planet with water. Mars and Jupiter's moon, Europa, have water too. It does not take 7 years to digest chewing gum. It passes through your system without being digested. Goldfish have memories longer than 3 seconds, capable of distinguishing between different songs.
Wait, who's singing songs for goldfish? Can you imagine going to a concert and just a bunch of goldfish?
Ostriches do not bury their heads in the sand when scared. They lie flat and blend in with the ground. Opossums cannot hang by their tails while sleeping. They use their tails for grasping, not for prolonged support.
They're so sick, though. Look at him go. What a fella.
Sugar does not make children hyperactive.
No, but people tell them it does. So it's more like a placebo effect, right?
Studies have debunked the sugar high theory. Lightning can strike the same place twice, contrary to the saying.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's not very likely, though. Surely. I mean, there's so many places for lightning to strike. It can, but it's very unlikely, isn't it?
The Earth is not a perfect sphere. It's an oblate spheroid.
Yeah, I was going to make a flat Earth joke, but I think it'd fall flat. What?
Flattened at the poles. Genes do not determine race. Humans share 99.9% of their genes with each other, and genetic diversity is vast within groups. The Middle Ages did not universally believe the Earth was flat. Educated people knew it was round. Dogs do not—
We know, this is the guy in the high tower like, ha, those fools down there thinking it's flat. No, I know much better than them. Yes, I know it's flat. Wait, hold on, what are they going to say about German Shepherds?
Did not universally believe the Earth was flat. Educated people knew it was round. Dogs do not sweat through their tongues. They pant to cool down, but sweat through paw pads.
Oh, really? They sweat through their paw pads? Okay, they don't really sweat much, though. If they can only sweat through their paw pads, then obviously that's a much less sweating than we can do. You can sweat through your entire body. Some people don't really sweat all that much. I guess it depends, like, your weight, your genetics. Just different people sweat different amounts.
The 5-second rule for dropped food is not safe. Bacteria can transfer to food immediately upon contact with the floor.
Yeah, but it's probably fine, right? I'm gonna be honest, I'm not gonna sacrifice the donut that I just dropped on the floor just because it might have gotten some bacteria on. It's still a perfectly good donut.
Not all deserts are hot. Polar deserts can be brutally cold. Fortune cookies did not originate in China. They are an American invention associated with Chinese restaurants.
100%.
If you touch a baby bird, its mother will not reject it due to human scent.
Oh, I hope not. That'd be terrible.
Most birds have a limited sense of smell.
Oh, they can't even smell? God, they can't even smell the roses? They're surrounded by flowers, but they cannot smell.
Alcohol lowers body temperature despite the warming sensation it can give.
Oh, really? It lowers body temperature? Okay, it makes you feel warm, though. And some things are just about vibes. Temperature, feeling, sensation, dying of cold. It's all about vibes.
Swimming right after eating isn't dangerous. The biggest risk might be a minor cramp. You don't have to wait 24 hours to report a missing person. There's no waiting period required to report a missing person to the police.
Okay, so I have no object permanence. Can I report a missing person when they go into the next room?
Adding salt to water makes only a negligible difference in boiling time. Going out with wet hair in cold weather doesn't cause colds. Only viruses do. A coin dropped from a great height, like the Empire State Building,
Will not
can't
kill someone.
It might sting, but isn't lethal. Cracking your knuckles doesn't cause arthritis.
Yes! Oh my god, I can crack with impunity. I won't because I know people don't like it, but I have the most crackly body on the planet. If I just move my hands, sometimes they crackle. If I move my elbow, if I crack my back, if I clench my toes, they will crack. My knees will crack. Every part of my body will crack. My neck will crack sometimes if I move it in a certain way. Everything cracks. And I just don't want to be giving myself arthritis.
Though it may weaken grip strength over time.
Really? Oh, no! My grip strength! How am I supposed to go rock climbing now?
Bats aren't blind. They can see 3 times better than humans. Humans have more than 5 senses, possibly up to 14 to 20,
What are they?
including balance and temperature.
Okay, sure. Oh, temperature. Yeah, you sense temperature. You can sense your balance too. Okay, well, what are all the What are them then? What are them? Touch, balance, external body awareness, internal body awareness. We have sensory processing. Okay. Who's affected? Wait, what's the other senses? I think the senses are kind of like superpowers, aren't they?
Shaving doesn't make hair grow back thicker. The new hair feels coarse because it has a blunt tip. Mount Everest is not the tallest mountain on Earth. Measured from base to summit, Hawaii's Mauna Kea is taller than Everest, with over half of it submerged underwater. Coffee doesn't actually dehydrate you. Moderate coffee
coffee's mostly made of water.
consumption contributes to your daily fluid intake without significant dehydration. Sushi doesn't
Oh yeah, so I mean, too much of any one thing will, mess you up probably.
mean raw fish in Japanese. It actually refers to vinegared rice, often accompanied by various ingredients, including raw fish. The Sahara Desert isn't the world's largest desert. Antarctica is considered the largest desert,
Because it's deserted of things.
defined by low precipitation levels, not by temperature.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really rain much. Are there clouds in Antarctica? Are there many clouds?
The Canary Islands are not named after birds.
Oh, we go here all the time. The Canary Islands is like the place where all the British folk go on. If you're going on like an abroad holiday, that's where you go. You go to the Canary Islands or somewhere in Spain. That's where you go. You got Tenerife, you got Gran Canaria, you got all these bloody places. I went to Gran Canaria recently, just a couple of years ago, actually.
Their name derives from the Latin Canariae insulae, referring to the island's large dogs.
Oh, the dogs. Oh, that's wonderful. That's fantastic.
The term third world doesn't imply poverty or underdevelopment. Originally, it categorized countries not aligned with NATO or the communist bloc during the Cold War.
Yeah, so there's no second world, though, right? Oh, yeah, so what, like, Norway is a third world country? That doesn't make any sense. Also, I'm pretty sure third world and first world is kind of like an outdated, archaic way of describing a country.
The dark side of the moon is a misnomer. All sides of the moon receive sunlight. The far side is just never visible from Earth. The Library of Alexandria's destruction wasn't a single catastrophic event. Its decline was gradual, involving several incidents over centuries, not just one fire.
Yeah, much in the way of loss of information and people becoming dumber over time, it is a gradual decline rather than something that happens immediately. You can actually see it in many countries today where there's a gradual decline in people's intelligence because of one thing or another. Maybe a little bit too much social media, maybe a little bit too much Twitter, reading too many bot accounts on Twitter, making them dumber.
The Spanish Inquisition was not as deadly as commonly believed.
But no one expected them.
Historical records suggest far fewer executions than the tens of thousands often cited.
Okay, tens of thousands is a little ridiculous, though. That's a bit much.
Diamonds are not formed from coal. Most diamonds are formed in the Earth's mantle, well below the depths where coal is found.
And also, can't we make man-made, lab-made diamonds now? Aren't diamonds going to drop in value because they can be created? Isn't the value of a diamond just propped up by the diamond companies just not selling as many as they really could, keeping the supply available to consumers low while keeping their own bank accounts high? Isn't that kind of how that works?
The term rule of thumb does not originate from a law about wife beating. It
What?
likely refers to using one's thumb as a rough measurement tool, not any legal statute.
Hold on, wife beating? What's all that about?
Gladiators didn't always fight to the death. Many matches were highly regulated, with the possibility of surrender and survival for the combatants.
Oh, good. I'm glad they could survive.
Walt Disney
Well, I mean, yeah, because you wouldn't want a gladiator or always fight for the death, or because then you just run out of gladiators. You'd have gladiator schools where gladiators would be trained and raised up, and they'd invest resources and time and energy into these people. You don't want them to just go out and die after one fight. That wouldn't make any sense. It'd be a really bad investment. And the most important thing for everyone over the ages, no matter which culture, is money. Of course, you don't want to waste your money or your time.
did not invent Mickey Mouse alone.
He didn't invent. Oh, but well, I mean, yeah, he probably had a bit of help, you know. He had some mates down at the pub he was chucking around some ideas with.
Ubby Iwerks, a Disney animator, played a significant role in the creation and design of Mickey Mouse. Shout out to these guys who are the first patrons that support my channel. You can end up on this list as well. Check out the link in the description.
Check out the Patreon in the description, and you can become someone that will help the channel as well. Also, you can help the Pain Explainer get close to 500,000 subscribers, unless they're already there, in which case you can help them get to 1 million. Please do subscribe to their channel, and if you want to see more of my dumb face, you can always subscribe here as well.